I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you on the winds of winter. Jarad, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm not that frozen yet. I'm outside as usual, so it's actually a bit rainy. So apologies if you do hear the weather behind me, but yeah, I'm pretty good. I I don't know if you've experienced this, Kiwi. I was in a shop, like a department store shop. So I was right up the back in an area that was pretty quiet, and it was only me and my girls, and a gentleman was sort of there looking at something, looking at the area we were looking at, and it was just him. And we walked into the area, and I could smell an odor that you could only suggest that the man may have had a bit of gassy issues or something along those lines. And it was quite intense, right? And I'm like, and then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I can smell it. I know the girls can smell it. And then all of a sudden it's like, Dad, what's that smell? I'm like, I don't know. Like, this poor guy, like, obviously was trying to get a quiet spot, and yeah, we stormed his location. And
Poor
then
guy.
yeah, and then like I just felt like if I could, I don't know if you've experienced the kids. Their brutal honesty is beautiful in some time, in most cases, but yeah, that was. I think we all wish we weren't there. So yeah, that was one of my experiences from last week.
Yeah, right. So that leads me on to the topic. How do you sneak out a fart, Jarad? That's something that every grown man needs to do. Every adult, really,
Well,
or every child. But I guess children don't need to sneak them out. They kind of make a bit of a song and dance about it. But especially in a professional environment, how does one sneak one out?
you need
We
open
covered
spaces.
only the important topics here on the two gentlemen.
Oh, mate, I think it's a personal preference, really, but yeah, you need open spaces in
But
my
poor guy,
opinion.
so he sneaks off, finds a quiet corner. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
finally. And then
yeah,
this guy and his two kids show up,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ruin
I know,
everything. Foiled.
I know, I know. I think it's more my fault. Yeah, I should have known. Yeah. But yeah, the embarrassment was real. The embarrassment was real. But yeah, other than that, mate, I'm all good.
He
Yeah.
should have tested out some cushions or something.
Yeah, true. How's your life, mate?
My life's good. Look, it's always good. Things happen in my life and I have to remain good. Does that make sense?
That
Events
does
do what
remain.
they
That
do.
does make sense. Yeah. Yep.
Events do what they do. It rains or whatever, but you've got to do your bit to remain dry. So I got a letter back from that agent I talked about 2 weeks ago. It was really, really exciting, and I got rejected. So that was just
Ah.
yesterday morning. Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer, and
Hmm.
I learned a lot from it. I learned, don't get your hopes up. You just got to
The
always
whole
stay cool.
experience. Yep.
Yeah, so it was a nice little 2 weeks of my life where it was like, oh wow, like I could possibly get this done or that done, and
Mhm.
but I came crashing back to earth yesterday. So
Oh,
it is what it is,
sorry to hear
Jared.
that.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
okay. But like I said, I'm still good, and events
Hmm.
happen, and you just have to remain
Yep.
good. So that's where I'm at. But this morning I was meant to play tennis with one of our great friends, and it
Hmm.
started raining. Well, it rained all night, I
Yeah.
think. So, as you said, bring
Yeah.
a snorkel, and he doesn't have a snorkel, so we can't play.
Yeah. 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 Tennis isn't known for its compatibility with rain. So,
No. But this friend of ours, we've both known him since we were 10 or 11. We met him in
yep.
1991 when he came to our school. And he's one of those guys who's just like a brother. You do a lot with them and you consider them family. And it made me think about how different friends have different roles. And I thought to myself, how much can you expect from a friend? Because I'm really lucky with you. We could do a podcast together, but we're not professional friends. Like, after this, it's not like, well, thanks for shooting, Jared. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
It's, hey, how's your family? We catch up and we go way, way, way back. There are other people
Yeah.
that are purely there because, hey, you play golf together and that's all you'll do. You'll talk golf, you'll play golf, and you might see each other in the clubhouse for a drink, but that's it. You don't
It's a
really
shared
want to,
experience.
yeah, and that's about as far as you'll go. So I was just thinking, Jared, what are your friendships like? Do you have friends who can cover all bases, or are you a bit of a, compatibility kind of guy where you just choose someone for this particular activity and then you move on to someone else for something else?
Um, I have I really do have a group of people, a group of friends that I feel I can, I guess, pick up where I left off, even if no matter how much time has passed. And I feel like, and I've used this word previously a long time ago in this podcast, but I feel like the foundation of that friendship is strong. And it doesn't matter how much time has passed. We can just, sit back into those chairs essentially and speak as if no time had passed. There is, as you get older and move on with life, you get your career, so you have people that you can share that with. There's obviously, like for me, there was sport. There's also like hobbies and activities that I've done throughout my sort of adult life. And then there's also the kids going to school for us is, another branch of friendships. I think I'm, that was a long way to say that I think I have everything. Like, I think, and I don't know if that's I think that's okay. So I have my foundation sort of people and friends, but I also have the people that are there and great people that we were able to share our experiences with. And sometimes you're lucky, foundations then get built and they continue to stay in your life after the event or the situation has removed itself. So, yeah, I feel pretty full in that regard. Like I feel that I've experienced all those sort of friendships. Yeah. What about yourself, mate? I know you mentioned, the core friendships that you have, or a couple of friends that you have here that, like we were talking about. But how do you navigate the world of friendships?
Yeah, so I seem to meet a person every year, at least one new person in my life. Sometimes it's more. But yeah, it seems like, as I go through life, I accumulate friends.
Yep.
And they seem to all be people that could cover most bases for me. So even if it's a friend that I play tennis with, well, I could do more than just play tennis with them. I could hang out with them and chat. I can do, I could go to the movies with them. I could bring them back to my place and they could meet my family, and that wouldn't be an issue at all. And I just wonder, what are our expectations around people these days? I think that's the bigger question. Can you be friends with someone who you don't really have that much in common with, as long as you've got that one activity in common with them?
Yep.
And I feel like through jiu-jitsu, I've met a lot of different people from different walks of life. And because it's that sole activity, it's like a family there. Everyone gets along so well, but that's because there's no race, there's no religion, there's no politics. There's just jiu-jitsu. It's just people that you work really, really hard with, that you sweat with. So they meet all my needs at jiu-jitsu. They're a good role. They know what they're doing. They don't hurt me. They're friendly. They don't smell. They're not trying to sneak out a fart while we're rolling. It's all really good. But I know that they couldn't possibly meet all my needs outside of our jiu-jitsu relationship. So I'm pretty lucky that as I'm going along through life, I'm accumulating people who have great personalities.
I think, that's really nice to hear. And I think maybe, I don't know, like, we'll go a little, I'll ask you a question. Like, now you've established those friendships, and those connections, how would you go, how would you manage the situation if you removed jiu-jitsu? I know I think natural, I don't know if this is the right word, but natural attrition might mean that people just sort of drift away. That's probably not the right word, but people may just drift away naturally. But how do you try and, without throwing out the desperation sort of, rope,
please be my friend.
How do you maintain that friendship if the situation arises and jiu-jitsu isn't there anymore?
Well, that's my point, really, I guess, with all of this is maybe you don't. Maybe they are a jiu-jitsu friend. Now, I've got a couple there that we've actually met up with outside of jiu-jitsu and went over to their place with my family, and they'll be lifelong friends. So, assuming everything goes right, they're really cool. We're different people. We've got different values, but that doesn't mean that... That's okay. We can't be friends, but they meet a lot of our needs. They stimulate us intellectually, they're fun, they care about their family, they're good people.
And I mean, you like for us, for me and you, like we removed, school was our basis. That's where we met.
Yeah. And
then we obviously had other interests outside of school, but both school and rugby have now been removed from our kind of our circle. But we still remain friends.
So after that,
I don't know. I'm really questioning this.
Well, that's the thing. We are questioning it. What is left once you remove the activity? Like, why do you care about these people? And what do you get out of it? Like, you roll with someone. Yeah, he's a great role. He teaches me so much. Well, okay, you're not rolling with them anymore. What do they give you? Do they give you intellectual stimulation? I think where this is going, Jarad, is what actually makes a good friend. And we've talked about this before. But what are you bringing to the table? When you think about it. Okay, so you don't do jiu-jitsu, you don't surf with the guy. What are you, what are you bringing to this?
Yeah. Well, it's a mutual. Like I think I'm going to steal your words. I think from earlier episodes, but it's a mutual form of filling each other's cup. Like you're able to provide whatever that person, like whatever they need. Sometimes you don't even realize that what you require. Like sometimes you can sit in a room with somebody and then you can just leave after an hour or two and feel awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even really know why. And it's just, I think, because the friendship connection or your cup's been filled. And I think, I don't know, we might even be getting more deeper in this one. It might be just a connection that's there that we don't even realize it. It's been established, but that keeps getting fueled by something else. I don't know.
Well, look, as humans, we need connection.
Yeah.
And I guess the deeper it is, the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, how much can you expect from a friend as well? And, why do we hang out with people? Like when you say, oh, let's catch up, what do you actually want to do? Is it because you haven't seen anyone for ages? Or is it because you've actually got something to offer somebody? Is it for you or is it for them? Or is it just for both of you? I think ideally it's for both of you. But I'm just questioning, what are we all bringing to the table? And I think it's really cool if we're conscious of what we bring to a relationship.
I know if I'm asking anyone, to catch up, or let's all just, for no reason, let's just catch up. Come over, I'll do a barbecue, or I'll go to your place or whatever. I know I do that because I want to. I haven't really taken that further step of like why I want to, but I know that I'm not doing it out of like I feel like I'm being, forced to. It's a want, 100%. There's no question in that. So I must admit, I haven't really thought about it further. Like it's just a wired thing in my head that goes, I really want to do this. Like I really want to sit around a table and do nothing with these people. Like, that essentially, like, and that's, it's, I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's good that it's kind of built in.
Yeah. Well, we're social creatures. We need company. We've evolved in packs.
Yeah.
So even if we're doing nothing, that is something connecting. That is something to do. It's not a nothing. But when you say you want to catch up with someone, what do you want out of them? And quite often, I want to know what they've been doing.
Yeah. Interest.
Yeah, I want to know how they're feeling. And I'm actually catching up with someone shortly, well, hopefully. It's funny, we're trying to book in. Yesterday was the 21st of June. and we're trying to work out when we could see each other. And the closest time was the 26th of July. So,
Wow. Yeah, it's like
but
that sometimes.
we're going to catch up, and I miss her. She's really nice.
Yeah.
And if I think about what she brings to the table, like what does she do for me? She's got this beautiful energy.
Yeah.
She's a really enthusiastic person. She loves life. She's a family person. So, she loves her husband and her child, which is beautiful, which is, matches my values. And even though we're from very different backgrounds, it's just nice to be around a person like that and just to, I guess, share something with them. And in this case, I like sharing her energy. I love her verve, and we'll just end up talking about our families and what we've been up to and work and that sort of thing. She's an old colleague of mine, but I think the energy you bring to the table is really important.
Yeah, it's a good point. And that's yeah, the energy, and the start, the way you bring that. Also, you think about, like, I'm going back a little bit when you just said, what do you sort of want? And I had a point to that, was I think we want to share and experience each other's moments in life. Like, so, sometimes people go through tough periods and you want to be there for them. Sometimes they go through happy periods. Of course, you want to be there for them for that. You want to be able to share your experiences. You want to be able to, it's almost like a validation too. Like, hey, I'm going through this. How did you deal with that? Like sometimes they've had that, they've had that. So you're sharing those experiences or sharing that knowledge. I know that, like, for me, like, if I've ever sat with a group of people and everyone's, it's just a real even sort of, approach. Everyone's having these conversations. But I know that if I have an experience and somebody would come in and sort of overtake the whole situation with their problems and it doesn't make you feel as good. So I guess it's finding your people, right? The ones that suit the style that you use. Some people might like that. I know some people like to have a sit and have a bit of an argument. Like, that's their thing. Like, they have fiery conversations and and then they can just, close the book and then, be friends. Like, that's not my style. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue about certain things in the world. That's just not the way I do things. So I suppose it's finding those people with that same sort of thought, and same sort of approach and energy within the group or within the table that you're sitting.
Yeah, and I think there are things that you should and shouldn't do in a group situation. So I'm not going to come to, when it's the four of us, our tiny little group of friends, I'm not going to go there and start talking about my political opinions and things like that. And it's not that you shouldn't. It's not like there's this hard rule that, I believe in censorship, so, no one can talk about stuff like that anymore. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying in that experience, when you haven't seen your friends for months, it's probably not the thing to do. That's all.
But that's our energy, Kiwi, right? That's the four of us that we all knowingly understand that we're not going to come in and sort of smack that group in the face with opinions, because that's not how we as a group have ever really sort of operated. So if you came in and did that, we'd be like, what's wrong with Kiwi?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And we'd be like, there's something going on. Like, we'd know that you've sort of, whereas there's people that do, that's their, that's the way. So it's definitely not, it's just our energy. It's definitely not a wrong thing or something that we're saying that, you shouldn't do that. It's just, that's for us. That's our style.
And you might have that one friend or those friends where you get on the phone, you're like, hey man, did you hear about this event or whatever it is? Yeah. And then you just talk about it for hours. Like one of our friends in our little group of four will call me when he's got certain things on his mind and he wants to talk about a particular issue, and not a personal thing, but it might be a bigger philosophical question. And that's what we do. And we've always had that relationship. So that's cool.
Have you ever overnight almost just run out of things to say to somebody?
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that?
Of course. And so my son and I, we spend a lot of time together, and in the car, most of the time, we're not talking. Yeah. There's nothing wrong at all.
Yeah.
And we used to practice times tables and stuff like that, right? But, that's just
Yeah.
pointless busy work because he knows his times tables. I'm not going to do that
Yeah.
to him now while he's 15, I'm not going to do it with you either, Jared, in case you're wondering.
Okay, cool.
But you don't always need to talk. And
No.
a lot of a lot of communication with humans is non-physical. And in the case of being with our children, the communication is being there. Like you're telling them, I want to be in your company. I love you and I'm supporting you in this activity. Therefore, I'm spending all my weekend driving you around to this, that, or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's saying a lot. Yeah, that's talking right there. Not with words, but with actions. So yeah, look, it's totally fine. And it would be awkward if I met up with one of my friends who I haven't seen for ages and we talk for 5 minutes and they just sit there staring at the sunset,
Yeah.
And then you'd end up commenting on that. But that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why activities are good. I think if you can build a friendship around an activity at first, then you can slowly get to know each other while you're, hitting pads or something. And then you chat during your breaks between rounds. And then you just get to slowly know each other better.
And I think you sort of nailed it on the head. Like, it's okay to run out of things to say. Because if you've had a really sort of, I don't know, lack of better words, sort of intense friendship with someone where you've been able to talk to them about everything and anything, that's, you've kind of said everything. So you've now got to experience new things to have more discussion. So you kind of hit the nail on the head where you sort of said, it's okay. And then you just have to sort of base it around some sort of activity or some sort of event or something where, you can still share that same sort of, because you've obviously had that foundation of friendship there, but you've kind of just, fizzled out on things. You've said everything. So it's finding new things for that to fuel that relationship and friendship.
I went on a ski trip with a guy. So that's 5.5 hours down to the snow, 5.5 hours back, plus spending time with him, where we were all staying.
Yeah.
We talked a lot. And actually, that was when I first started writing my novel and I shared the idea with him. He thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. And we really got to know each other well. And you really need the right sparring partner. You need the right person that you can roll with. And he was right for me.
I can share a similar experience where I went down to Canberra with four, so I drove and there was 3 other people in the car. And the drive was obviously a lot of people, 3 other guys that were just all talking. But this was quite recently, probably a year or two ago. And it was just talk, right? But on the trip back, it was just me and one of the guys. The other 2 had a lift or was staying, So it was 3.5 hours or 3 hours in this car. And to be honest, like I don't know this guy very well.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, ooh, 3.5 hours, like we're going to be, we did not stop talking because it was and it was just really, it was to the point where we got home and went, oh, do you want to grab a coffee? Like, it was still sort of, and it was really awesome that we were able to do that. And that's led to, a friendship. So in my eyes, and that was just out of necessity. We all both had to get home.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And it probably worked in your favor that you didn't know him.
Yeah, it was the whole get to know him, really. Like I'd known him, but not known him. You know what I mean? Like you sort of, I played basketball and, we sort of had the general chat about life. But it was really cool.
Yeah. How often do you want to make new friends, Jared? Like I said, I meet a new person pretty much every year. In this last year, I've probably met 3 people that I've started communicating with outside of the activities in which I met them.
Yeah.
Actually, more than that now, 4 probably. So that's a lot for me, 4 people in 1 year.
Yeah, that's a fair. And it's only 6 months in.
Yeah. Well, and how do you manage that? That's a lot of people. So in my case, it's just, it's just another person you might get an hour with every couple of weeks. But I'm happy with that. And, by the end of this year, I'll meet someone else that I really get along with well. So I'm happy. What do you think?
I certainly don't shut down the opportunity to meet new people, but I would probably say for me personally, my opportunities to meet new people isn't as, it's not as fruitful, it's not as available. And we talk about, the busyness and all that sort of stuff that we go through running a family, but you know what I mean? Running around with the family and doing what you need to do. It's one of those things where I think my activity or what I'm doing currently doesn't really allow that to sort of fit in, which unfortunately I wish it didn't. So that might be an adjustment that I need to sort of look at, because I'm definitely not closed to the idea of new friendships, but I must say time is definitely a factor for me.
Yeah, I think the other thing is compatibility with your own family. I think that's really big, because I like people to be able to come over to my place. I like them to be able to fit in with us.
Yeah.
And if for some reason my kids or Erica think, oh, this person's a bit strange, why are you friends with them? That would suck.
Yeah. I must say that was the first thing that popped in my head as you asked the question. And I went down the path of the other answer, but that did pop into my head, and I suppose I didn't know how to word it as well, but compatibility with the family, I think, is a big thing. Because they're part of you now. They're you. So it's not a matter of this is my friend. It's our friend. It's our family friend. And, that everyone needs to be happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing I want to ask is how compatible do your friends have to be with all of your values, Jarad? Would it be hard for you to, for example, I don't know what the guys I'm rolling with think at jiu-jitsu. I've got no idea what they think about women, about LGBT people, about anything else. I don't ask. We're not, it's something that you don't bring to the table, to the mats. It's like, we're there to roll. We'd be friendly with each other. We'd be polite. If you've got great chemistry with someone, great. You pursue a friendship outside, which I've done with the couple there. But, like, I don't know how much of a right I have to ask someone, oh, what do you think about this? And if they give me the wrong answer, is it like, oh, we can't play tennis together anymore?
Yeah. Throughout my life, as you know, I've been involved in a lot of team sports. So again, it's impossible to know, and it's actually it's not possible to agree with everybody on that.
And you literally played with guys who were in jail at the time, like they were on weekend release. So they did things that were obviously contrary to your values, because you don't break the law, especially in those ways. So you were mixing with people from very different backgrounds.
And at that point, I really that's right. And those guys, I enjoyed the company with them. Like, so how do you, I don't think so. I think when it comes down to it, it's, there's certain opinions and personal things that they're personal, right? Like, I don't know. That's a hard question, man. I'm trying to process it, because, like, there are no-go zones for you, but then it would have to be almost like shouted from the treetops, because I don't start a friendship like, so tell me, tick these boxes and cross these, like I don't sit there and go, well, what's your thoughts on this? And what's your thoughts on these particular, these particular types of food, I don't have that. I might have a watered down version in my head, but I don't really go hard for the jugular and ask about those real big issue things that, that
I know. So when they do creep out, how does that affect things?
Yeah. I think it's something that it's a managed situation, and I say that because I'm just trying to think of the exact words here, but realistically, like, you in your mind have got your values and your the ways of doing things, and if somebody crosses that line, then in anything in life, you remove yourself from the situation, or you speak up. Like, there's the fight or flight, right? So if that occurs in that friendship sort of, or that sort of in that arena, you've got to either speak say something, or remove yourself. You can't let it simmer, I think. So, but you got to be honest. You got to be honest, regardless.
And you don't want to be ghosting someone and they just like, hey man, what happened? You know,
no.
I haven't seen you for 2 years. You just disappeared on me. Yeah, you know that thing you said about this.
Yeah. No. And when I say remove myself, that's what I say. You got to be honest. You got to say, look, I'm sorry, mate, or this isn't working for whatever reason, or have the conversation and stay and work out. You know, okay, is this just something, or is this, you know, it's how we manage everything, really, isn't it?
It's hard to have a grown-up conversation, Jarad. I did some management course, and we modeled a conversation. We were talking about having difficult conversations, and you know, the facilitator, I said, look, I just want to give an example. What if one of your colleagues really smells?
Yeah.
Okay, can you do this conversation with me? And she did it. And she prefaced the conversation by saying, look, you know, I need to have a talk with you. This might be hard for you to hear. And she was very professional about it all because, you know, she was playing the role of a manager. But it is a hard thing to do, you know, to put yourself in that situation. It's like picking a fight. It's like, I'm going to go and hit this guy. So you got to stand there, you got to put up your guard, you got to go, right, well, it's on.
It's on. Yeah.
You know, when you have a fight, you might prep for 8 weeks. You go into a camp, you know, to have a conversation about someone's odor, then, well, you know, you might need to prep for that, and you might need to talk to your counselor about it, or speech therapist or whoever, someone to help you with communication skills. But it is really hard to be an adult sometimes, Jarad.
Sometimes a lot of the time I agree with that. Those adult conversations, I mean, you know, and for me, it's why it's nice to have kids that can like go back to that level. Sometimes it's just, you know, but even then you've got to adult so much, you know, you've got to be that, you know, you've got to be the carer and all that. So.
But it's easy to tell a kid something like, you can say, look, if you keep doing that, you know, you'll smell really bad and no one will want to be your friend, or something like that.
Actually, there's nothing to that, right? Like,
you would say that, like, and you'd probably say something along those lines. Whereas you wouldn't walk up to an adult, you know, Jerry, you smell bad. If you keep doing that, no one will want to work with you. Okay, so start showering and wearing deodorant. But there's no way you'd want to do that. We just kind of put up with it, don't we? We're like, oh man,
we'd actually go through more pain. And when you think about what's the pain level, like, do you go through like smelling Jerry for 6 months and dealing with that, like, personally, and knowing everyone's doing that same thing, or that rip the Band-Aid off for that conversation for, you know, 30 seconds of like, Jerry, mate, I'm telling you now as a friend.
Is that your role as a friend? I actually don't know. Sometimes I think, you know, look, it's your opinion. You've got to keep it to yourself. Like if you said to me, Kiwi, I don't like the way you dress, man. Like you're really daggy. All your clothes come out of the garbage. I mean, that's just an opinion, right? Like, I'm not affecting anybody. I mean, smell is different because you're actually affecting other people. But you might say, well, I have to look at you. You know, I don't like the clothes you wear. You know, you're such a dad.
Well, that's my problem. That's my problem.
Yeah.
That's that's me.
What about the smell? That's your problem too. I'm fine with the smell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. I mean, look, I suppose there's that's the conversation you have to have. And if you turn around and say, no, I'm fine with it smelling like, you know, garbage, then fine. Okay. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that makes me ill. That makes us not compatible.
Well, Jarad, I promise I will shower from now on. I'm really sorry. Thank you for having that difficult conversation with me. We're going to have to wrap things up, Jarad, because we're at the end of time.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. There you go.
Thank you for catching up with me, my friend.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Take care.
See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.